Welcome to today's episode of getting to know how to generate a good research. In the other video, we discussed on how to generate a good background of the study. So today, we are going to look at how to generate or how to draft a good statement of the problem. In case you are watching me for the first time, my name is Rich Adet. I work with my word AI. I'm a research consultant. Now, what is statement of the problem? Statement of the problem in academic research is a concise and focused description of the specific issue, challenge, or gap that the study seeks to address. It defines the central problem that motivates the research, showing why the study is necessary and what knowledge or practice it intends to improve. Now, for you to get a good and of course for your statement of the problem to be approved, you must follow the following. Number one, establish the context. Begin by restating the broader topic or issue introduced in the background of the study. Remember, in the background of your study, you introduced a particular issue, you introduced a particular problem. So try restating that issue. Try bringing in the topic that you're trying to address. And then try to narrow it down to the specific challenge or concern being investigated. For instance, despite increasing adoption of e-learning platforms in higher education, many institutions in rural areas continue to experience low student engagement and poor academic outcomes. That's one of the good examples. So you must be able to establish your context, restating the broader topic. Now, the second thing you will do is to highlight the knowledge gap. Here, you have to identify what is missing. You have to tell your audience what is missing in existing research, policy, or practice. This could be an unaddressed questions or unaddressed questions. So you have to see how you can identify these unaddressed questions. And a lack of data, is it conflicting findings or an overlooked population? You have to see how you can highlight these. For instance, say if for instance now you want to talk about the same you want to talk about the same adoption of e-learning platforms in tertiary institutions. Now, let's just take this topic for instance. You say previous studies on e-learning effectiveness have focused primarily on urban institutions, leaving limited evidence on the unique challenges faced by rural universities. You see, here you've tried to identify the missing issue in existing research. The other researchers may have been talking about urban institutions, but in your own, you're trying to let them know that that problem they discovered has only been solved for has only been solved in the urban institutions, but in the rural universities, the rural institutions, they are still facing this particular problem. So your research is trying to fill that gap. How can this be resolved also in the rural universities, not just in urban universities alone? So you have to make sure that you highlight the knowledge gap, what your research, what you discovered, and how you're going to solve them. And now the third thing you will do is to discuss real world implication. You discuss real world implication. Explain how the problem affects individuals, organizations, or society. This helps to show the practical importance of solving the issue. So you don't just write research because you want to. Your research must discuss the real world implications. You don't write out of emotions. So, okay, for instance, this lack of understanding limits the ability of educational policymakers to design inclusive digital learning policies that cater to all regions. So you must be able to discuss the real world implications. You don't just discuss things that are not realistic. So that's the third thing you have to take note when writing your statement of the problem. Now, number four, justify the research urgency. You have to try as much as you can to emphasize why the issue should be studied now. Tell your audience why they should study your research now. What solution are you providing? What solution have you discovered that the previous research couldn't provide or could not provide up to a satisfied, could not make it satisfactory? Yes. So you must try to prove to your audience that your research needs to be studied now in order to probably achieve a certain, in order to get certain advantage, or in order to avoid some unforeseen contingencies. And okay, let's take for instance, say with the global shift toward virtual learning accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Understanding this disparity has become more urgent. If you listen to this sentence, you will see there is this urgent need to look at the virtual learning. How can you avoid mixing yourself with crowd in order to avoid getting in contact with infected people that are infected by the COVID-19. So you see there's this urge, your audience will want to look into that virtual learning. They will look into that particular tool. So you must try to see how you can justify the research urgency. Make it known to your audience that, oh, this is what this research will solve, and it is very important. You need it now. Now, the fifth thing you will do is to make sure that you try ending the section by summarizing the central problem in a way that naturally leads to the research objectives or questions. So transition to objectives or research questions is very, very important in your statement of the problem. For instance, you can summarize by saying, hence, there is pressing need to investigate the factors influencing e-learning engagement among rural university students. You must not necessarily um, state them directly, as you are trying to, summarize the central problem in a way that naturally leads to your research objectives or questions. You don't have to state them directly. So that is that for statement of the problem. In our next video, we're going to learn how to generate a good research questions and objectives. Before you go, please like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel so that you can be getting updates on how to generate a good research for your academic pursuit. Thank you.